one, well, it didn't fare so well for them in the semis.
Look, it's all about that tournament mentality, Gaogaen, as we head on to DFH for the first time. You can have all the momentum you like. It's been my buzzword when it comes to leagues, but that momentum means nothing when you're going into a playoff bracket. And this is a playoff bracket, let us not forget, that is segmented across multiple weeks. So it's go in, get hot, and then cool off again. Your mind has got to be in the game from minute number one. We've seen one team fallen, now will the other.
It's all about how you play on the night of, and I can already tell there's a bit of a step up in pace between these two teams. Both sides are really bringing the heat early on, which is what you like to see and expect in a game number one. I think teams are less keen on sitting on their defensive end and just trying to wait this one out. They'd rather get that first impactful goal, really start to kick the series off on a high note. But again, it's a marathon and not a sprint. We're in for the long haul.
Look, out of all of these Great Plains teams, Gaogaen, Robert Morris University is the one with the most to lose. One of only 4 teams to go 7-0, and almost the first team to find the first goal in this series. Of course, Baldwin Wallace is now going to try and head back on the counter-attack, and that forces a good save away from Demented Sheep. I think this is really the way that Baldwin Wallace have to play in these early stages. Yes, respect Robert Morris, but do not show them too much respect, because otherwise they're going to walk right all over you.
It is worth noting as well, obviously we've had a lot of competition between teams of the same group right now, so if you're looking for results based on the previous series, Baldwin Wallace having 2 losses in the regular season to both Robert Morris and the Fighting Scots Red. They actually did get a win over Waynesburg, so, read into that as much as you will. Robert Morris University, they won every series they played. You really don't need anything past that. Although, interesting thing of note, they did not meet Waynesburg in the regular season. That was their one bye of the 6 weeks of play. Although, beautiful. I don't think Robert Morris University are concerned about anything other than winning.
Oh, it's the sheep that haunts the dreams. Beautiful infield. What an infield pass by Senti. Set up on a plate for Demented Sheep. And perhaps a little bit of criticism between Baldwin Wallace. Their rotation a little bit splintered. You'd expect to have someone coming in at the far post on that particular occasion. But again, you take your chances that you're given. That's well put away by Demented Sheep. And after a lot of grind, actually, in this first half, it's Robert Morris with the early lead.
Something tells me this series is going to be much more about those small margins of goals being scored rather than teams mounting these historic comebacks, it would seem, towards the end of the game. Baldwin Wallace have their work cut out for them, and it feels like a bit higher of a step up for them to take to get this equalizing goal. You can see the pre-jump from Det not quite in position, gets picked off early. Meanwhile, on the other end, passing play, cut off, nice save by Shady. We'll have to do a bit more to clear this out.
Possession, passing field. Hope that Demented Sheep gets on the end of it. Rinse and repeat. That's the Robert Morris way. Baldwin Wallace a little bit more chaotic in their plans, and that was a little bit chaotic from Senti off their own backboard, and Shady unable to challenge for this one off the sidewall. Sent straight back to Shady, however, with little boost. What a wonderful redirect, and they found the net! Questions of the defense, sure, but Shady did all that he could.
You just have to say fair play to the offense at that point in time. Baldwin Wallace have done a couple of opportunities now where they've had someone cherry-picking in the zone, looking for that redirect, and Shady finds it. That's a great shot to score, and the battle between Robert and Baldwin continues on, all square, outside of 2 minutes to play.
Straight back on the attack, Robert Morris University, the push away from Baldwin Wallace, and a demo in the midfield gives, for the moment at least, Robert Morris full control over possession to Demented Sheep, but interception from Baldwin Wallace. 2 back, ready to pounce, a miss, and a throw downfield goes over the top of GJM, straight towards net! 2-1! It's the detonator!
And it's an early start here on a little bit of a comeback for Baldwin Wallace. They're not willing to go quietly into Game 1's night. And for now, I mean, it's expecting the unexpected. Robert Morris University are giving a bit too much credit, or rather taking a bit too much credit away from Baldwin Wallace's transition game. All it takes is one powerful clear, somebody positioned correctly, and that one player makes all the difference for Baldwin Wallace to continue to score.
Oh, nice readjustment from centre here. GJM heading to the back four, but Baldwin Wallace can now sit on this with 70 seconds remaining. do they want to sit on this? Another question entirely. I'd imagine that one more goal would certainly do them the good. They're going to find it off the crossbar. It trickles across the goal mouth. Well, looking for a doozy, but thrown away by GJM. Scary stuff for the Blues.
At the same time, Robert Morris got the clear that they needed, but no real possession to be seen, locked up in the corner and forcing Baldwin Wallace to play this awkwardly, but a double demo will help them, and that shot on target will certainly seal the counter-attack for this orange side. RMU again put back to the back wall here. A little space for them to get out in front, but what's happened here? The massive gap opens right down the midfield line, and RMU tie again.
I was going to say, a bit cumbersome have been Baldwin Wallace, and that's worked to their advantage in the attack, but finally, RMU have seen it in the defense. It actually is quite a negative, and catching them out in the midfield, the straight shot at net, a lot of power behind it, on target at the very least. That's all they needed to secure that second goal, and now straight down the middle, GJM, was going for the demo down the other side. Well, Shady shotting, no way!
Too much collision made. Counter-attack 2-on-1.
Oh!
And it's an absolute launch from Demented Sheep. The pass pristine. The shot placed well. RMU on top again.
Oh, I know you're thinking it, chat. Me too. So I'm going to say unbelievable from Demented Sheep. They're 3-2. The turnaround after the turnaround. Baldwin Wallace reeling right now with 16 seconds left. Now it's 13, and now it's 10. Demented Sheep, no second shot. Straight down towards the other end. GJM got the mop out on cleanup duty. A miss here from Well. Double demo. 2v2 briefly, and that will suit Robert Morris just fine. Spiked.
It feels like the pace has really stepped up here. And there we go. We've got another early goal. This feels very commonplace now.
I was literally going to say, Baldwin Wallace, for me, their main area of concern is not even the center of midfield. It's sort of like that little pocket in between midfield and defense, where there is something to be picked and prodded at there. There is something that needs to be tightened up upon. In the offense, I think they're great. I do think that they work for defense. Those mistakes that we were, alluding to were kind of forced, really, by Baldwin Wallace putting on the pressure. That was an unforced mistake, but thankfully for Detonator, Shady there in the net, able to make the save. RMU very eager to try and redress the balance early on, but Baldwin Wallace in the first 30 seconds looking far better.
I mean, the aggressive challenges are here, even from Shady, who has virtually no boost, but it may come back to bite them as a double commit is forced out. Plenty of passes in front, and RMU knew exactly what they were doing from the rip. Baldwin Wallace can't fly too close to the sun, lest they get burnt.
Yeah, it's a real shame that it was a double commit there of all places. Senti has to do a very quick spin on their wheels and manage to find that fox in the box, that poacher sort of goal. I think Baldwin Wallace are going to be very disappointed with that. Their lead not even lasting a minute.
At the same time, if any series was to feel as open as this one, both teams have the confidence of knowing that it's in their back pockets, it's in their own abilities to win something like this. But look at RMU go, lurking at the top of the box, picking off the ball and shooting it on target with exquisite pace. It's really making Baldwin Wallace reconsider every single clear attempt that they go for, and you can see that reconsideration come to full focus with the double commits that they consistently throw at the ball.
I think it could be a lot worse for Baldwin Wallace, actually, because in terms of the shooting, it's been a little bit wonky for RMU. That was a really nice dunk attempt, actually, from Demented Sheep. He's certainly been the one where we look at for pop-off ability, thrown into the midfield, but not for long. Senti closes down. Well, big still and not there's a demo. Here's GJM into Senti, and then downfield, it's thrown the other way.
You know what it feels like? The strategy in air hockey, where you constantly try and ping the puck off of your opponent's wall over and over and over again in the hopes of maybe making them second guess something, and then you go for the kill shot. I don't think that's what RMU are drawing up, but in my head that makes the most sense, where they're just trying to create so much manufactured pressure that Baldwin Wallace are forced to double up on some sort of save or some sort of clear, and then RMU can catch them out. But that is a very long and outstretched gamble to try and take here if you're RMU. Fortunately for them, they feel pretty safe in taking it because Baldwin Wallace are making it that much easier.
I don't feel safe watching this, Gaogaen. I think I might need an adult. half-time, I am shocked to report, folks, that it is still 1-1. It is still a tie game. No! Scratch that! Never mind me! It's time for me to put the crown on. The King of Cursed returns. Lovely throw over to the backboard. Beautiful read from Well. Great sink. Wonderful goal.
Ask and it shall become so. That's a beautiful shot. After everything we just talked about with RMU finding every bit of the back wall but the net, Baldwin Wallace, make no mistake about it, and that's not an easy shot to bury top corner. It looks very pretty, but RMU come back the other way to make it 2. Well, with a big save on the other end and relatively no pressure in the corner, but gives the ball away. Demented Sheep up early for that one, but the 2-minute mark about to ring in, and RMU still down 1 with the ball going back the other way.
Well. Reached into it, didn't they? And they pulled out some fresh, beautiful water. They might find another one here. Detonator with another challenge. Well, did pick up the flip reset, but again, the ball a little bit directionless, and RMU are getting more and more desperate, throwing it downfield. That's a complete whiff from Detonator. Shady again on hand to clean up the mess. Good coverage from Demented Sheep. Onto that goes Senti, into the center. GJM, Demented Sheep, unfortunately realized that the angle was a little too tight. The save from Detonator and the throwaway from Baldwin Wallace should eventually come through. There it is.
Everybody's getting involved, though, for RMU, and meanwhile, on the other end, Baldwin Wallace always have at least one miss on the sequence, but that's the shot you have to score for RMU. Could be the clear opportunity for Baldwin Wallace if they can find themselves the defensive stance, but it goes center again. One more large clear, and Detonator trying to run amok here on the plan, but Baldwin Wallace has seen their way out of a very sticky situation.
Oh, isn't this familiar? 2-1 up with 50 seconds to go. Baldwin Wallace, how are your nerves? GJM to Senti, straight towards their Demented Sheep, spikes it up. I think they were hoping that GJM would continue their very aggressive run, but they go, hold up, they're cooking. But they don't realize that they're also a chef. They should be in the kitchen. 30 seconds left.
It's now Demented Sheep, miss off the sidewall, picked up now, center pass. GJM not there in time. RMU have to back up. They're all stacked up on this side, which is going to make it that much harder to get the push going again. But already one beaten. Sheep has to pull off. Now back through the corner. Senti getting that for GJM. RMU, though, really struggling to formulate a passing lane. They can't even get the first touch going. Now finally, Demented Sheep finds it out to Senti. Goes top corner. Big save from Well. That's a massive ask at the time of calling, but RMU are not gone yet. It goes far down. 0. It's sent in on an own goal. There's still 1 second on the clock.
I don't have words. I don't have words. Let us describe what happened. GJM, that was actually a super clean shot. That was super clean. I don't think they could have hit that better or more imaginatively, perhaps is the word to use. So tragic that player on the line, I think it was Shady, could do absolutely nothing. Their positioning betrayed them, and overtime, it's so difficult to tell which way this will go. The runaway, and Baldwin Wallace have to be so careful, otherwise they're heading for a second consecutive defeat.
The tension will not ease up. Center pass. Senti doesn't get there in time. GJM, another chance. Made up on target alone, but Detonator gets it clear. One more. RMU continue to get chance after chance, and eventually they're going to counter and get that opportunity through. It's Demented Sheep finally to make it count.
Unwilling lambs to the slaughter. Gaogaen. Baldwin Wallace.
Solid defensive presence from Baldwin Wallace. They continued that forward. It's very unlucky, yes, but RMU, they didn't get here, in this undefeated state by not scrapping out games like this. And if they put together 4 quick ones in a row, nobody's going to bat an eye.
I also have to amend myself. Almost match point scenario. It's best of 7, and so they've got one more game to go before they reach that position. Time, then. Time for Baldwin Wallace to try and make something happen. Shady almost did. The crossbar denying them on this occasion, and Shady with a challenge in the midfield is only going to delay the inevitable. Detonator with a demo on GGM, and that's what I want to see a lot more of from Baldwin Wallace. You've had 2-1 leads in both games at this stage. You now need to take full control. You need to fully grip this series, this game even, and get it over the line.
See, what production doesn't know, though, or I mean they do, they're just ignoring it, is that I've changed this to be a best of 107,
Okay.
purely based on, you know, the scoreboard trying to agree with me, which would make it so that a team has to win 54 games in order to win the series. I think that's doable. I think we can be here for that long. Are you have anything coming up after this, Reliq?
Yes. Well, not immediately.
Okay.
Tomorrow, yes.
Right.
100%.
Okay.
And it would go into tomorrow, but
Right.
RMU are so close to scoring right now. They're so close to taking that lead, but how many times have they been close to scoring? They haven't done it, and then Baldwin Wallace have just gone right up the other end. Case in point, and just put it away, easy as pie.
Again, flying too close to the sun, but it's back the other way. One goes, the second stays on the ground, and Senti's just waiting to clean up a play that has not even been messed with in the first place. It is relatively spotless for Baldwin Wallace on that sequence. They haven't had any messes to clean up, and yet RMU are sitting there with their mops in hand thinking that the sweep is locked in. These games will continue to stay close as long as RMU allows those angles back in.
But they've got the clutch-up ability. That's honestly that je ne sais quoi that really differentiates teams at this level. Like, yeah, we know you're cracked. Yeah, we know that you had a positive record or that you won the majority of your series in the semester. You know, like, well done you. What more can you bring to the table? And that's where RMU steps in. It's a really nice play off the backboard, by the way, but once again, this Baldwin Wallace defense dealing with it masterfully. That's perhaps a little overcommitment. It's now going to be 2v1 on the defensive side of things, and when it's 2v1 on the defensive side of things, even one challenge like that could end up leading to a goal.
It's a great play from GJM as well. You can see the goal line run just kind of forced the initial jump out there from Well, had to make a play, and GJM knew exactly where that ball was headed. It's all about that calculation, keeping your head up on offense as well. That typical sports psychology of just keeping your eyes on the prize. RMU equalize. We're halfway through. I've got no more lies to tell. Sorry, just looking for anything to rhyme there. We're moving on.
Inspired by epic rap battles of history, are they? I watched a new one. It's pretty sick. Hey, guess what? We're not going to have a 2-1 Baldwin Wallace anymore because RMU have just taken the lead.
And what a way to do so. It's GJM. A bit more ingenuity this time around than a simple top-of-the-box challenge. A nice, clean double with a bow wrapped on it. Right in time for the holiday season as well. RMU, this is where it gets scary. Them getting a potentially comfortable lead, just, you know, decently outside of the final wrap-up of this game. Do I smell a quadruple match point?
Possibly. Very possibly indeed. Back pass. And the chase is on Detonator, able to evade the Coppers. Oh, that's a double commit. That's a really poor bit of communication, and Demented Sheep with a caress into the net. Oh, Baldwin Wallace getting a little bit desperate there. Almost as desperate. That's my vocabulary, it seems.
You know, there's a first for everything. Like watching a sheep whisper sweet nothings into the ear of a Rocket League ball. Listen, there are eggs in the stand. I think anything's possible. But just knowing that this thing has ears or any body parts at all, I'm thinking a la Companion Cube. I don't really like this thought anymore, and I think I'm just going to leave it alone.
It sure was a point of all time, now. It sure was a point.
Right.
Point is that 90 seconds are left on this clock now. Less than. And Baldwin Wallace have 2 goals to find. Now, they have found 2 back-to-back goals in game number 1. Again, they still weren't able to take the win, and those 2 goals would only take them to overtime, of which the only one to this point between these 2 teams in the playoffs has ended in victory for the Blues. But that was a dangerous one. Nobody willing to pounce on it. It ricochets off GJM, and now on the attack it's Well. Once again, backboard defended. I think I'm going Boston, but here's the shot. Shot surely, no way, everyone misses it.
The back boys are back, and it's all right. They're getting the saves they need, RMU, to keep things clean despite the first that they've conceded. Another center attempt. It goes high and up towards that waterfall zone, but RMU close to locking this one away. Baldwin Wallace, that was their chance they had earlier on in the sequence. 30 seconds to go, and another entry into the zone, but RMU looks stacked up. Transition defense not leaving much to be imagined.
These pre-reads on various challenge opportunities are fantastic for RMU. They've really stepped up their game in the midfield and further forward as well. That was a bar post shot, saved away, registered by Senti. Runs down the other way, burning as much time off the clock as possible. Remember, 2 goals needed. Certainly wouldn't help if there was another one conceded against themselves, but there's Senti with the lock off, and this one is locked down ever so.
But I don't know if you're feeling the same way, because Baldwin Wallace have shown some fight back.
I do feel like this is going to go the way of a sweep, because any sort of fortune or luck that Baldwin Wallace did have has been overcome, and at every which way and turn. It just feels like fate is in the hands of Robert Morris University, and the scoreline shows as much, 3-0. When you look to the micro of the games themselves, then yeah, of course they're close, but Game 3 was the least close of them all. It suggests that Robert Morris is getting more comfortable by the second.
And it is exuded in what they do. We're still scoreless early on, and Baldwin Wallace get a nice chance here, but it's sent just inside of that angle. Nearly wanted that shot through. They'll be forced to back up, collect some boost. A lot of full tanks, though, for Baldwin Wallace, so they're not too concerned. They could catch RMU here sleeping. They've done it before. Who's saying they can't do it again? But Demented Sheep, big save to make early at the top of the box. Ball is not clear. A couple of bumps behind the line as well makes Senti's job a little bit harder as it goes center once more, but RMU see their way out.
Full 100 tank closed down his detonator and ultimately loses sight of the ball. His Senti trying to lock Baldwin Wallace in, but they have found an escape tunnel. Out to the blue backboard now, infield, GJ Gem. That is not the clearance that they were looking for, and neither was that. The redirected shot, a complete whiff as Demented Sheep takes control. And that's back into the blue half momentarily. No side really wrangling control away from the other.
At the same time, RMU, they're happy to put each other down all on low boost at the same time. If it means they're all connected in the effort, this one is going to get scored. Good put away by Well under pressure, even if it didn't seem like it. But Baldwin Wallace grabbed goal number 1.
Yeah, trust me, this shot is harder than most people give it credit for. Wells, first of all, coming in from the opposite angle from which the ball needs to be shot, and so they've got to try and wrap their car around it. On top of that, with so much pressure from RMU rotating back to try and stop him from scoring, I've seen plenty of those missed. Let's put it that way, at RLCS level, no less. And to be able to put it away under that pressure is really smart. That would have been a really smart second goal as well. The RMU defense able to respond for the second opportunity, but at least they've got a lead now, Baldwin Wallace. Still, not a comfortable one by any means.
They delayed the ball out, however, and get it back to the blue corner again against RMU. So Baldwin Wallace taking some solid steps here forward, but now RMU all stacked up in the corner. What can they get from here? GJM forced to pull back. Big, powerful clear, forces Senti into action, and that's about as well as that outcome could have gone through for RMU. A big clear to deny an immediate follow-through for Baldwin Wallace, who do re-enter the zone, but not with the same passion they would have had if Senti missed that touch. One-on-one, big flip from Shady.
Still no boost. Got to manage this carefully. And just flicks it up in the air. A little bit of a mystery for RMU to unravel, and unfortunately these mysteries go by quick. Shot at net, saved. Shot back at net, saved again. Well, with 2 bites of the cherry, will they get a third? Central again, this time from Detonator, no one willing to receive. Baldwin Wallace playing it conservative, boost their priority for now.
And that's a dive down into the offensive zone, grabbing the boost against 2 defensive players for RMU. Big gains there for Baldwin Wallace. It allows them to reinvigorate this push back. With Senti, low boost, no problem. Doesn't even pick up that mid either, as now it's left over to Demented Sheep. GJM pulls off Baldwin Wallace. A well and solid chance to grab a second center pass. Ends
Gorgeous.
up well right to him. And he grabs 2.
All Detonator steps in at the right moment. Lovely switch up of pace. blocks this ball from going any further. And well, in that perfect shadow striking position, all they got to do is proverbially, again, I guess, bumper poke it home. I would say toe poke, maybe tire poke it home. Whatever terminology you want to use, Baldwin Wallace have got that daylight at last, 2-0.
And this has to be reassuring. It's the first of 4 steps, but it feels like a massive one at that. Job is not done. We all know that to be true. Robert Morris have had the comebacks in their favor, but is this too tall of a task right here, right now? A minute left in this game, and Baldwin Wallace have had some of the most dominant offense they've seen all series, but GJM almost doesn't care. It careens off the near post.
That is so sad to see, because the goal mouth was gaping. Massive mistake in the midfield from Baldwin Wallace, but it goes unpunished. Some might argue, given how unlucky they've been, they deserve this much. And now right down the other end, Detonator's going to throw it effectively to himself. Midfield challenge. And again, just corralling it under their watchful eye are Baldwin Wallace, wasting time beautifully.
Oh, but that one is center and nobody's defending. Senti grabs goal number 1 for Robert Morris. You have to watch yourself at every time possible, and a double commit for that save is not going to cut it.
Yeah, someone's pressed the panic button. As much as I can praise them, it's just these moments of madness for Baldwin Wallace, which are really seeing their whole game plan unravel, because now it's a 1-goal game again. Yes, 20 seconds isn't a lot of time, but it's enough time. Most crucially, on target. Yes, Senti forced into acrobatics, a miss there. On target, and Weller surely got the third. Surely put the game to bed. That's a crucial miss, but Senti steps in. It's got to be one final shot, and it's too far away from GJM. Shady taking it to a completely different continent to get this one over the line. Crossbar, RMU now have to keep it up, and they do so quite successfully. Senti, great close down. Gotta spike it on target. It's once.
But there is still so much more to be done.
Gaogaen, the scariest thing if you're RMU right now is that was Baldwin Wallace's best game by a country mile. Yeah, there were a couple of double commits here and there, but that cumbersome element to their play, which I was referencing in game number 1, it's gone. It's gone large. High quality. And speaking of, no mercy from RMU. 1-0 off the rip.
Just running it down against the defense. 1 beat, second challenge, and force Shady into action early. Maybe you ask the question about whether or not Shady should have stayed on the goal line, but you're talking in hypotheticals again, and you get caught up in the momentum, the swing of how fast that play is moving. Baldwin Wallace want to get a clear as fast as possible, but Robert Morris on the other end are happy to scrap out those offensive chances deep into the box. They're looking for another one here off of Demented Sheep, who will have to settle for the back wall.
So it's an early setback for the Busy Bees on this edition of Animal Farm. But do they got the honey? Do they have that sweet, sweet thing to be able to get them back in the game? Or did they really find their glass ceiling? Have they been able to break through it? Well, that shot goes wide. Back in blue hands. Dances past one, does Demented Sheep. That great fake on the second goes Demented Sheep. The entire team schooled! And they can't find the finish. The woodwork, the 4th player denies.
Demented Sheep unlocking every single portion of that brain, and yet nobody knew. Now gets another chance one-on-one against Detonator, but it's not going to fall, and GJM, a bit slow, has to turn around. Half flip still keeps it relevant. RMU, a couple of chances there. Feels like one of them was surely bound to score, and they don't even need it at this current stage. But that mental factor over Baldwin Wallace, who have to steel themselves for a second game in a row, could prove detrimental.
Steel themselves, yes, but remain malleable also. Most importantly, they're going to be facing some stern questions of their defense. That had to be on target. That is on target. Game on.
It's a box out as well of the final defender. At least I believe there's some contact made. We'll look for it. Detonator. Not quite. It's just GJM hanging out there on the far side. Not sure where that ball's getting hit to, but shot placement is something that all these players need to be as confident as ever about. And Baldwin Wallace can do well to find exactly where they need to go. Demented Sheep back the other way, wants to respond, and goes bar down. It's centered again, but Robert Morris still look for 2.
There's only so many 90-degree angles that I can take, Gaogaen. RMU must be scratching their heads in complete disbelief at how they haven't found the lead yet again. Demented Sheep going for a bit of a weird one underneath that throwing themselves into the melee sort of defender style of play. Demented Sheep, second touch, continues this drive forward, stopped. Right back at you from well, infield, looking for that follow-up shot, and that goes high, wide, and not at all handsome.
A decent chance at the passing play, however. It kind of begs the question in the Challengers division, how much you need to expect the unexpected. Well, nothing really expected about that sequence. Two sending off of the same near post and no follow through, but you couldn't commit to it if you're RMU. You have to watch yourselves on the other end. Double denied with a follow through shot, dead center. GJM makes a save, sent back. Quick turns for everybody from Baldwin Wallace, but they have to be careful. This transition offense for RMU can prove deadly, and well gets the save.
This series has exploded into a bunch of people who are throwing their arms up in the air because Gaogaen, they just don't care. Attack, attack, attack is the game plan. You want to throw fire at us, we're going to throw some fire right back, but somebody is eventually going to get burned. Eventually, this is going to be tears for one of these two teams. And to be fair to Baldwin Wallace, I can't tell which one it is right now. They're playing brilliantly.
But that's the thing, both teams playing with fire. It's always dangerous for the threat of being burnt, and well, all of RMU sent away on that sequence. Double up, Senti's the only one back, and well, with a whole lot of collision happening, you're not going to get a save.
Exactly 90 seconds left. This is deja vu. We've seen this scoreline a couple of times, quite literally. And that's a lot of time for RMU to find themselves a second, to find themselves an equalizer and more! Oh, Baldwin Wallace can say, stop it! We're here to stay in this series!
And all of Robert Morris go the exact same way off of the kickoff. All three players into the corner, and only after it's too late do they realize that mistake and try to turn back. But there is an entire half of the net on the left-hand side that Baldwin Wallace have free for the taking. Great on them for taking advantage. RMU can still make this comeback happen, but they've certainly dug themselves a deeper hole.
They're not asking if RMU like jazz, they're asking, hey, do you like the two-step because it was a 1-2 punch? Very quickly now, behind and significantly so, are RMU with 60 seconds to rectify this. Baldwin Wallace with reckless abandon, again challenging every which way in the midfield. Up they go. Anywhere but into the hands of RMU is currently the motto that they are living by. Senti now moving up infield, looking for the shot from GJM, who wins the race/challenge and brings things back to a one-goal game.
I was going to say, you give GJM a challenge at the top of the box, and they're going to prove why the weight room is their second home away from home. Big challenge to take there. It's been consistent factors for RMU that have gotten them back into these games, but they have to be careful. Baldwin Wallace are not willing to park the bus. They've attached the nitrous canisters, and they are ready to let that thing fly.
They got the mechanics, but do they have the belief? RMU, it's all they've got to rest on!
Sometimes you sit back and witness a sequence of greatness that develops right before your eyes like a storybook ending, but far from the ending are we, unless Robert Morris University complete what feels like a gargantuan comeback. But come on, this team, the kings of coming back.
Rule 0, Rule 1. This is the most important rule, folks. 2 goals is never, ever considered enough. Overtime on the horizon unless we see some late game heroics. Baldwin Wallace, they fall back. It's a shot and it's almost dunked in by Demented Sheep. Excellent save, series winning save from Well.
And from that absolute flashbang of an opportunity, we go right into overtime. Could be the final sequences of the series if Baldwin Wallace don't find a miracle of their own. They led this game early. They had everything working for them, but they've given RMU one more chance to put them to bed here in 5 games, and it's a big clear going fairly uncontested for a long amount of time. It allows Senti to come through. Only one defender removed, but still gets the clear. Demented Sheep goes center, but no shot to be seen.
That's most worrying for me if you're the coach of Baldwin Wallace, because you're just looking at your entire team, looking at the ball heading closer and closer to your net. You've got to do a quick turnaround again. You've got to go upfield. That's on the post. No follow-up. GJM throws it sideways, not even forward, straight back into the center. Well, going for the redirect, not redirecting enough. Shady, backboard, and that's on target for Detonator! Explosive!
Finally, they learn from their mistakes of the earlier sequences. Even though the play is moving so fast, just throw someone at the ball. Everyone from Robert Morris, as soon as that ball goes to the back,
they can absolutely go and do it again. They've proven it to themselves. They've proven it to us. And let's not forget here, RMU took a very, very early lead in that game, lest we not forget. And still, it didn't dampen the nerves. A fire has been lit underneath the chairs of Baldwin Wallace, and they are playing in survival mode right now.
I think all I'm learning from this series is all 6 of these players are a little too comfortable with fire, to the point where I feel like alarms should be going off, but maybe that's just how they like to live, you know, dangerously on the hot seat, trying to motivate themselves as much as possible. I'm here for it if it gives us Game 7, of course, because Baldwin Wallace have that fight back. Only question is, RMU again feel like they know how to get back into the control seat. It's all on them to prove that they can consistently do it.
Baldwin Wallace, changing my words. That would have been one of the most absurd dunks I've seen, just period. In my, forget NECC. Ever. Again, it didn't happen, so it's unfortunately a little beside the point. But look here, Baldwin Wallace, whether it's naivety or whether it is super cool heads, they're basically asking RMU, make your move, we'll react. Didn't react quick enough on that occasion, though.
Yep, a whole lot of the screen happening in front, but Sensi just gets to the shot too quickly. Every single piece of boost, and just hoping Shady there on the goal line that the early defender, I believe that was Well, had the touch. It all falls through. The play's moving too quickly. You can make every excuse under the sun, but Robert Morris again in a position to close this series out, and that is a big way to get you closer.
Sunk. And unfortunately, Shady just basically gives it straight to RMU as a perfect setup. Baldwin Wallace, they're reacting to their teammates' own mistake. They're all out of position. They're all not ready for it. RMU was. Great alertness, great awareness. Sidebar, man, I really miss RLCS overtime. Baldwin Wallace, though, missing the lead, missing the goals. Thankfully for them, still Lions' share of the game left to go.
Can certainly take a page out of the RMU playbook. However, spurs some of these fantastic comebacks we've seen. I still don't quite understand how Robert Morris are so proficient in that category. But I don't know if we have to ask that question this time around, Reliq. It's Baldwin Wallace with every bit of the comeback to initiate here.
Oh, infield pass, going backwards. My word, Senti. How flamboyant of you, how selfless of you, and how wonderful of GJM to put it away through that tight angle as well. 3-0. We're starting to get into Avalanche territory. We're starting to get to a point, Gaogaen, where even with 3 minutes left on the clock, it is looking like a mountain for Baldwin Wallace to climb. And with every mistake, with every boon to their name, RMU are going to be feeling much, much better about themselves.
And as if the height of the mountain wasn't enough, RMU the entire time have felt like the tall giant waiting atop that peak. Not as if they were asleep and have finally been awoken, but maybe now, here in Game 6, they hit a bit closer to their final form, the form that can get them a Grand Finals win once we get to that next week. But Baldwin Wallace, again, there's so much working against them right here. They have to stay out of each other's way as much as possible, but still facilitate these passing lanes.
You can almost hear their scowls. You can almost envision their furrowed brows. And why wouldn't you? That's number 4. It's another on the board for Senti 2574. Oh, not like this, Gaogaen. Not like this.
The thing is, though, that's Senti with another goal expending every single bit of boost, and that is just a pace difference. The player in line to take that shot is GJM on the ground, and Senti, who made the initial touch, says, no thank you, this is my entire sequence to execute on my own. That level of confidence is infallible at times, and for Robert Morris, it feels no different right now. There's less than 2 minutes to play, but Baldwin Wallace, every opportunity they get does not feel strong enough.
Not quite game 7, but RMU want to get it done for game number 6. They are playing flawless, and a moment where they needed most. Too sharp a shot, too high a shot, not going to get the shot. Sub 90 seconds, Baldwin Wallace need to find one. They need to find one now, and they're still not going to get one. Demented Sheep with a save.
And the only look they had was Senti falling back with no boost. May have sent that in for an own goal, but it doesn't come through. One miss in the corner. GJM has a challenge sent to the back wall. Well, pop up high. There'll be detonator to follow. No double, but the double commit does get the clear out for Robert Morris, and they've done enough to get to the 60-second mark with a clean sheet. I think the bells are starting to ring, Reliq. It's tough to hear past them because Robert Morris are not keen on letting this one go without getting that shutout.
Yeah, it's not for Christmas, is it? Might need a bit of a Christmas miracle! How close do you want to get? GJM, again, just basically time wasting at this stage. Administrative work with 30 seconds now left. Is there going to be one consolation goal? No! Oh, it's not meant to be, Gaogaen.
You want to talk about luck being a lady tonight?
Oh,
well, we finally got one back for Baldwin Wallace. Are we about to witness the greatest 17 seconds of Rocket League's history? Or is this still Robert Morris to win it? I don't know if kickoffs have ever been in Baldwin Wallace's favor fully, but anything could happen.
They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt! That doubt is no more, Gaogaen. 5!
Well, you put it all on red, and it came up 0. Not much else you can do in that sequence, but RMU, what a way to see this through. This is the difference of a championship caliber team. Baldwin Wallace put up a fantastic fight, and they may get a second for the road, but saved aside. It's Robert Morris to see their way into the grand finals in 6. A very well-played series up until this point, and continuing on as Baldwin Wallace make the scoreline a bit more respectable, but it's still RMU to advance.
Oh, it's always so sad in these single elim brackets. We have to say Frank Sinatra, I mean, sayonara, of course, to teams every single step of the way. On this occasion, it's Baldwin Wallace, but what a performance they put in. You hit the nail on the head earlier. Every single game close, this one really being the only exception. And I do truly think that they just ran out of steam, whereas RMU still had plenty left in the boiler. They're going to be heading on into the grand